हाय एवरीवन, वेलकम टू सक्सेस ड्रीम पाथ। आज की क्लास में हम लोग टेस्ट होने वाला है मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट एमसीक्यू का। तो चलिए स्टार्ट करते हैं। सब ऑल मिक्स्ड है सब टॉपिक का। तो क्वेश्चन नंबर 2281 से, विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग इज द ब्रेन ऑफ कंप्यूटर? सीपीयू। विच मेमोरी इज volatile in nature? RAM. 1 kilobyte is equal to 1024 bytes. Which of the following is in an output in input device? Keyboard. Which of the following is not an operating system? MS Word. Which operating system is open source? Linux. The core of an operating system is called kernel. Which software is used to prepare documents? MS Word. Which key combination is used to copy text? Control plus C. Which file extension is used for Excel files? .xlsx. What does WW stand for? World Wide Web. Which device connects different networks? Router. Which protocol is used to send emails? SMTP. IP address is used to identify a device. Which of the following is a web browser? Chrome. Which storage device has no moving parts? SSD. Which memory is fastest? Cache. Which of the following is secondary memory? Hard disk. Pen drive uses which memory? Flash. Cloud storage means online storage. Which software protects computer from virus? Antivirus. Firewall is used for network security. Which of the following is a strong password? AV@9kx error. Phishing is related to online fraud. CAPTCHA is used to human verification. Which language is machine language? Machine level language, binary language. Compiler converts to source to machine, which is not a programming language. HTML. Flowchart is used for program logic. Algorithm means step by step solution. Which software is used for presentation? MS PowerPoint. Which function is used to add number in Excel? Sum. Shortcut key to save a file? Control plus S. Header and footer option is found in Insert tab. Which view is default in MS Word? MS Word. Print layout. Full form of USB is Universal Serial Bus. Which unit measures CPU speed? Hertz. Which of the following is an example of output device? Printer. What is booting? Starting computer. Which key is used to delete text on right side? Delete. Which of the following is an example of system software? Windows. What does GUI stand for? Graphical User Interface. Which device is used to scan document? A scanner. Which of the following is not hardware? Windows. Which memory is called permanent memory? ROM. Binary number system uses digit 0 1. Which key combination is used to paste control plus V? Which device converts digital signal to analog? Modem. Which of the following is not an input device? Monitor. Which software is used to browse the internet? Browser. Which unit is used to measure memory size? Bytes. Which memory is closest to CPU? Cache. Which of the following is non-volatile memory? ROM. BIOS is stored in which memory? ROM. Which storage device is uses magnetic technology? Hard disk. Which OS is used in servers? Server OS. Which of the following manages hardware and software? Operating system. What is booting? A starting OS. Which OS allows more than one user at a time? Multi-user OS. Which OS is used in ATM machines? Embedded OS. Which feature is used to check spelling in MS Word? Spell check. Shortcut key to select all text is Control plus A. Which option is used to change page orientation? Layout. Which software is used for spreadsheet? MS Excel. Which symbol is used to start formula in Excel equal to? Which network converts a small area like an office LAN? Which device boosts network signal? Repeater. Which protocol is used for web pages? HTTP. What does URL represent? Web address. Which of the following is a search engine? Google. Virus is a type of malware. Which attack steals personal information online? Phishing. Which software detects and removes virus? Antivirus. CAPTCHA is mainly used to prevent bots. Firewall works at which level? Network. Which language is called high level language? C language. Which language uses 0101 machine level language? Flowchart symbol are used to represent logic step. Algorithm is written before program. Debugging means removing errors. Which, which device converts analog to digital signals? Modem. Which key is used to rename a file in Windows? F2. Which OS interface is text-based CLI? Which software compresses files? WinRAR. Which of the following is an output device? Monitor. Which key used to refresh a web page? F5. Which memory stores currently running programs? RAM. Which file extension is used for PowerPoint.pptx? Which network device works at a data link layer? Switch. Which of the following is a utility software? Antivirus. Which software is used to make a chart? MS Excel. Which command is used to paste text? Control plus V. Which device is used to hear sound? A speaker. Which software manages database? DBMS. Which of the following is not a browser? Windows. Which OS is used in a smartphones? Android. Which unit is used to measure printer speed? ppm? Which of the following is an example of cloud storage? Google Drive. Which software is used for image editing? Photoshop. Which key combination is used to undo last action? Control plus Z. Computer works on which principle? Input process output. Which part of CPU performs calculation? ALU. Which memory is called main memory? RAM. Which unit converts a raw data into information? Processing unit. Which device is used to store large amount of data permanently? Hard disk. Which memory is fastest in computer? Cache memory. Which of the following is optical storage? DVD. Which memory loses data when power is off? RAM. What is the capacity of Blu-ray disc? Approx 25 GB. Which device use flash memory? Pen drive. Which OS is known as real-time OS? RTOS. Which OS is used in embedded system? Embedded OS. What is multitasking? Multiple tasks at same time. Which OS manage memory, CPU and devices? Operating system. Which OS is text-based? DOS. Which MS Word feature is used in align text? Paragraph. Which Excel feature is used to sort data? Sort. Which view is used to run slideshow in PowerPoint? Slideshow. Which function counts number in Excel? Count function. Which shortcut is used to print document? Control plus P. Which network is largest? WAN. Which protocol is used to receive emails? POP3. What is the default port of HTTP? 80. Which device connects LANs router? What does ISP stand for? Internet Service Provider. Malware means malicious software. Which attack blocks normal access to system? DOS. Which tool protects network from unauthorized access? Firewall. The strong password should be letter, number, or symbols. Which software encrypts data? Encryption software. Which symbol is used for decision in flowchart? Diamond. Which language is platform independent? Java. Translator program is software which error occur during program execution. Runtime error. Compiler translator translates source to machine. Which key opens done light dialog box? Window plus R. Which software is used to play audio files? Media player. Which extension is used for compressed file? .zip. Which device produces hard copy? Printer. Which of the following is application software? MS Excel. Which unit measures monitor resolution? Pixel. Which OS is used in tablets? Android. Which key deletes character to left of cursor? Backspace. Which memory? Which memory stores booting instructions? ROM. Which device is used to connect computer to internet? Modem. Which OS supports multitasking and GUI? Windows. Which of the following is not a programming language? Excel. Which protocol is secure version of HTTP, HTTPS? Which attack redirects user to fake website? Phishing. Which software is used for presentation? MS PowerPoint. Which generation of computer used in vacuum tube? First generation. Which device is used to input image into a computer? A scanner. Which unit of computers control all operations? CU. Data processed by computer becomes information. Which device display output on a screen? Monitor. Which memory is used to store BIOS? RAM. Which storage device has highest speed? SSD. Which unit is used to measure storage capacity? Bytes. Which memory is called cache memory? Primary memory. Which of the following is not a secondary storage? RAM. Which OS is developed by Google? Android. Which OS is used in Apple computer? Mac OS. Which OS supports multitasking? Windows. Which OS interface is graphical? GUI. Which OS is suitable for mobile phones? Android. Which tab contains font size option in MS Word? Home. Which Excel feature is used to apply conditions? Conditional formatting. Which MS PowerPoint features add animations? Which shortcut key opens a new document in Word? Control plus N. Which Excel function finds highest value? Max. Which protocol is used for file transfer? FTP. Which network connects computer within a city? MAN. Which device connects two different networks? Router. Which address uniquely identifies a device on network? MAC address. Which service allows sending electronic message? Email. Which malware disguises a genuine software? Trojan. Which attack copies keystrokes secretly? Keylogger. Keylogger यहाँ है. Which software protects system from unauthorized access? Firewall. Which practice ensure data safety? Backup. Which cybercrime involves fake emails? Phishing. Which language is object oriented? Java. Which error is due to wrong logic? Logical error. Which symbol represents a star in flowchart? Oval. Which translator converts line by line? Interpreter. Which step comes after algorithm? Flowchart. Which shortcut closes an active window? Alt plus F4. Which device provides audio output? Speaker. Which file extension is used for Word document? .docx. Which unit measures printer resolution? DPI. Which software is used to browse websites? Browser. Which OS is free and open source? Linux. Which key is to refresh desktop? F5. Which storage device is portable? Pen drive. Which application is used for calculation? MS Excel. Which key is used to open help menu? F1. Which protocol is used for secure web browsing? HTTPS. Which memory stores currently active data? RAM. Which software removes temporary files? Disk cleanup. Which Which device is used for video calling? Webcam. Which term refer to illegal access of system? Hacking. Who is known as the father of computer? चार्ल्स बेबेज, ये तो सबको पता होगा, बचपन से पढ़ते आ रहे होंगे. Which language is directly understood by computer? Machine language. Which unit performs logical comparison? ALU. Which device is used to point and select items? Mouse. Which memory is called read only memory? ROM. Which storage device is used for backup? Hard disk. Which memory is temporary? RAM. Which OS is called open source OS? Linux. Which OS controls hardware and software resource? Operating system. Which OS is used in smartphones? Android. Which MS Word option is used to change text style? Font. Which Excel function is used to find average? Average. Which shortcut key is to cut text? Control plus X. Which protocol is used to send email? SMTP. What does LAN stand for? Local area network. Which software protects computer from virus? Antivirus. Which attack tricks user to give personal data? Phishing. Which key is used to undo last action? Control plus Z. Which device is used for video input? Webcam. Which software is used to browse the internet? Browser. तो यहाँ पे आपका 2500 प्लस कंप्यूटर का क्वेश्चन एंड आंसर सीरीज कंप्लीट होता है. नहीं समझ में आया है फिर से देखिएगा पार्ट 1 से. चलिए फिर नेक्स्ट सब्जेक्ट में मिलेंगे, तब तक थैंक यू फॉर वॉचिंग. लाइक शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब.